Welcome back to In the Oven with Brad and Adam.
What up?
It's a short week for us. We actually filmed on Tuesday. Today's Thursday, but I'm gone all next week to Disney. And we're not going to let you down. So we're going to keep producing podcasts.
We here, baby.
So we decided, hey, let's do an early one so that way we can stay on our schedule. So not a lot has changed from Tuesday, but we still have some stuff to talk about.
That's right.
So, first, Disney itself is going to be a lot of fun. Really excited about bringing Letty, again. Every time it's just more and more fun.
Well, and she's at that sweet age, man. Like, so Disney is like, once they get older, a little older, don't get me wrong, Liam still has a blast, but like, it's not the same.
Right.
It's magical and stuff. The little girl seeing the princesses and everything. And now that they've way laxed off of the way it was during COVID and everything else, I mean, she's going to have a blast. It's exciting.
Yeah.
You going to take her back on the Slinky Dog?
Yeah. So apparently Aubrey asked her if she wants to go on the Slinky Dog ride, and she says no.
Okay.
But we'll see when we get there. And so my parents might not be coming with us anymore. Long story short, my grandmother's not in the greatest health, and the doctors pretty much said you need to watch her at all times. So my mom has looked into the option of just bringing my grandmother with us, renting a wheelchair, and just pushing her around the park and being like, you're here. Because it's going to be like 75 to 80.
Can she ride one of those scooters?
Yeah, she probably can, but we probably should just push her.
Okay, sure.
I mean, we got to push a stroller anyway.
If you rent any of that stuff off the park, it's so cheap.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like...
Well, my parents aren't even worried about that.
I know, but still.
Yeah, so that's the only up in the air situation right now about whether they're coming. If they don't come, we have an 8-bedroom Airbnb to ourselves.
Awesome. Party.
Yeah. It's going to be fun, but I would be sad,
Yeah.
Obviously having the extra hand to help Letty, but also I like having my parents around. Like I really enjoy it.
Absolutely. It's a family trip.
Yeah. I think it's like, I hope that my kids want me around as much as I want my
100%. So you got to live it, right?
Yeah.
You got to show them. And then, man, last time we went down to Disney, I was so happy to have my mom around just because she gets to share in
the joy,
the excitement. I remember being young and my mom taking me there and stuff. So it's like kind of like I get to see my kids act the way I remember or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. It's nice. It's heartwarming.
There's just like nothing that beats their excitement.
No.
Like we adults don't have that like unbridled excitement that kids have,
We get it beat out of us.
Yeah.
Life just beats it out of us. So that's why it's perfect.
Sometimes I wish that you had that you had a friend that was that age that when Letty sees you.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel when Letty sees you?
I know. It's like, yay.
Yeah. Like she's like Adam, you would think that Adam has been gone for 20 years,
Yeah, it's the best.
And then she runs up to you. And so I just, maybe we should start treating our friends like that. We should.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly.
People be like, what's wrong with them? They're like, nah, man, he's just my friend.
That excited.
Just so excited to see him. I think it's like, kids don't understand or comprehend time as much. So for you, if you hadn't seen someone in a really long time, you may be like, whoa, hey,
Well, we talked about that a little bit before, man. But in this, I didn't think about it this way until I heard somebody else say it. But it all comes down to like percentage of your life.
Yeah.
She's only been around a handful of days.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas I've been around decades. So it's like crazy. I didn't really think about it that way. But it was explained to me in like, they say as you get older, time goes by faster. Well, when you're 2, 1 year is 50% of your life.
Yeah, that's true.
And exponentially that goes.
Yeah, so when she doesn't see when you're 2, if she doesn't see you for a week, that's 1% of her life, which is that's a lot. If you think about it, like nothing else is 1% of your life.
Yeah, you'd have to not see me for a year and be 100.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyways,
so it's crazy to think about that. So
yeah, well, even like the sleep in or the whatever stuff for them is just so much longer.
Right.
Wild.
Yeah.
Kid brains.
So, but no, I just love her excitement for things. Like she just seeing Mickey, Minnie, even the rides we've already been on.
Well, what parks you going to first?
We usually go to Magic Kingdom first on like a Monday, just because I feel like that's the park just to
get it over with.
Get it out of the way. I know it sounds terrible.
That's the get it over with park for me.
There's so much to do there for kids that I think that you have to do that park early because it's almost like when they have the most stamina.
Yeah, it's cracked
for
them.
Yeah, and I think that she always is like dead
Yeah.
the second day, just from the amount we do on the first day.
In the summertime, that park is terrible. They built it so long ago that everything's narrow. There's no shade. They didn't really think there's like hardly anywhere places to sit down. You know? So it's like,
well, I think that this is the first time that we're going for long enough that we can go each park its individual day without doubling up.
Great.
We usually have to go MGM or Hollywood Studios or whatever and Epcot, or we have to do like kind of pair two of them together to be able to get to all 4 parks. But I think this time we can literally just go Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Epcot, or whatever.
yeah, dope.
Is
Epcot doing anything special this time of year? They always have some kind of food.
Is the food and wine
festival?
started?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really cool
I'll
what
have
it
to
is.
check.
If you get the like slightly upgraded tickets or whatever so you can breeze past people, but
Right. Oh yeah, the genie ones. Yeah. That's the way Disney does things has just changed so much, even just in the last
every
like
time.
6 months.
I know.
Yeah. So, but no, our season passes expire February 1st. So we're just doing this one last hurrah before. And I mean, obviously we got our money's worth. I think Aubrey and I, tax and everything, paid about like $850 total between us. And we've been to the parks after this time. We've been to the parks probably like 12 times.
oh shoot, money.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
I think you only got to go. What is it? That magic I think it's like 2.5 times or something like that.
Yeah.
Some number where they've
I
got
think
it calculated.
Maybe with Florida residents, it's like a better deal, but I think tickets are like $125 minimum each, and that season pass was $400.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, I mean, definitely feel like we got our money's worth. I also think it helps them, right? Because you go back more if you have season passes, and then the truth is, they make way more money by what you spend in the park.
Daddy, I want this. I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bust out another couple $100. Bah,
Yeah.
bah, bah, bah.
I mean, even just food too.
Oh man.
Like,
Yeah, I'll take
you're
one
like,
of them
how much is that?
$25 hot dogs.
Yeah. I think, there's a couple of restaurants that we do enjoy eating in the Avatar like world area.
Yeah.
There's a little restaurant that has like these like bao bun hamburgers and stuff like that. It's like
Okay.
really cool. And they do like a lot. They do like Chipotle style bowls.
The
almost.
like Atlantis-y restaurant is real nice. I don't remember which park that's in. Maybe Animal Kingdom. It's like a fancy restaurant.
Okay.
We ate there last time. I don't know. That's all I got. But they had good food.
Yeah. We ate at Rainforest Cafe, which is like, it's whatever, but it's just more about the
It's
ambiance.
cool. Yeah, it's cool for kids, but it's like the food, is just going to be like Dave and Buster's quality food.
Yeah. One thing we did last time that we hadn't done with her before is when I went down there last time and my sister joined me while she was having her treatments done. She came down and she was like, "Hey, we should take them all to the character breakfast."
Oh yeah.
And it was like booked up, except if you had a party of like 6 and there was like 7 of us. So I was like, screw it. So I just booked it for the party of 6 and then we showed up and we're like, oh, there's 7, right? And they accommodated that situation, but that was a lot of fun. Yeah. The buffet, I mean, it's actually really good food.
It's decent. Yeah.
And then the fact is like every kid gets to meet every character, like Pluto, Goofy,
Which
Mickey,
park
Minnie,
did y'all do
Daisy,
that at?
Donald.
Magic Kingdom?
No, it's at the Continental. Like the hotel that has the tram that goes through it.
Right,
yeah,
right.
we did it there.
Okay, they have one at Magic Kingdom. They also have one at
We did the Magic
Animal
Kingdom for Winnie the Pooh.
Okay, cool.
With like Tigger and Winnie the Pooh.
And
all
Animal
that.
Kingdom has another one. They're like safari, whatever. All the characters are
Major
dressed
Safari.
up like in safari clothes.
Yeah.
So
There's like another thing too is like when you see a character, there's usually a really long line to meet them. But there is one you can go to and visit in the Animal Kingdom, and you can get fast passes for it or whatever. But it's Mickey and Minnie in safari outfits.
yeah.
And
Did y'all see all those folks dressed up like the characters in New York City? You didn't?
No.
Oh yeah, y'all avoided Times Square.
Yeah.
Dude, they come hustle you, dude. It's like none of them hardly speak any English, and like it's just everybody. They'll be dressed like Batman. There's a ton of Mickey and Minnies, and they just like run up, try to get your
Vegas,
picture,
too,
and then
don't they?
like hustle you. They're like, "You owe us money."
They do it in Vegas too. A lot
Yeah.
of people do that stuff in Vegas.
Crazy.
The Times Square when we went to New York City was so packed that like we went through the outskirts of it to like get to a couple places, and we wanted Letty to see like all the lights and everything.
Right.
But it was so packed that I mean I've been to New York City multiple times and been in Times Square. I even stayed outside of Times Square one time, and I've never seen it that packed. Like
Wow. When we went there, like I think it was the first day where we were trying to go through Times Square, the big like stair thing that's in the middle of it. I guess I didn't know. I didn't pay attention. I was just like, it's too busy. Let's go somewhere else. But I guess the dancing weatherman guy, which is kind of cool because I follow him, but I didn't really. I mean, I can see him on Instagram. You know what I'm talking about? He was there doing something. So there was
Okay.
like a lot of people there just like stopped watching him dance, but I'll catch it on Instagram.
Ours
later.
was just like the New York City at Christmas time crazy.
Yeah, this was when everybody was doing like the sturdy dance and like the wipe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have Disney, but on our way down to Disney on Sunday, we're stopping in Coldstone. So we had our phone call with the franchisee.
Yep.
Franchise.
Yeah, he's the franchisee. He's on their franchise advisory council. So like, for those of you guys that don't know, franchisors, like the people who own the franchise, in this case, like Coldstone, they run the entire brand, but because they have franchisees, they're basically like strategic partnerships. So it's easier to get the rest of the franchisees on board with a major change if they take a lot of input. So they'll bring on like a franchise advisory board. It's typically some high performers, some folks that run the brand very well. Occasionally they just happen to be in a really good area. So they have high volume, but they don't really run the brand that well. But most of the time they run it well. And so the guy we're dealing with is the franchisee in Tallahassee.
Tallahassee and Jacksonville.
And Jacksonville. And so he is,
I think he's
importanter.
He has like one in Tallahassee, but I think he must have like 7 in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he's got a few in Jacksonville, and he's also a multi-brand franchisee.
Right. So explain that one, because for people that don't know, maybe about the fact of like, Slim Chickens versus Raising Cane's and then the parent companies and then how that kind of stuff works.
Okay. So these big franchises, eventually, I mean, you run it all the way up the ladder. Everybody's owned by equity these days, private equity groups. And so what they'll do is they'll have their buy sheets, their metrics that they use on which brands they want to get a hold of, and they'll buy portions of the brand, sometimes the whole brand outright. And so I was like a Sonic drive-in franchisee that is owned by Inspire brands. They own Dunkin' Donuts, Jimmy John's, Buffalo Wild Wings, a couple other brands. And then I was also a Slim Chickens franchisee, which isn't as well known, but you trace it all the way up. It's also a Capital Group. RoArc had part of it. They own a bunch of stuff in a bunch of sectors. But a lot of times, just because of the way these franchises are, you'll almost, I don't know of any, so maybe one exists, but you'll basically never see a brand that has interests in the same type of business, if that makes sense. So the equity groups won't be interested in having any piece of 3 chicken brand, like say Slim's, Zaxby's, and Raising Cane's. They're not going to be interested in that. They'll want a big piece of one, and then they'll want a taco brand, and then they'll want like a sit down casual dining, and then some of them will want like maybe a sports pub or a steak. Yeah,
so it's almost like they're diversifying their portfolio based on the different food options.
That's exactly right. So that they, just like when you guys go to deal with banks or getting loans, they'll have different tolerances for things. They study the market. They study with long lenses. So they're trying to look ahead, and they're going, okay, we need something in this price point. We need something in this price point. We need something in this price point, because the likelihood of all the different economics, all the different economic classes of people getting hit at the same time is very low.
Right.
So yeah, it's that's kind of how all that works.
Yeah. And another thing, is how does it work when you are operating franchises in under multiple different groups and things like that?
Well, so that's kind of where your strength starts to pick up, as a business owner. When you have one thing, they know that's your thing. They could not really take it from you, but you don't really have a lot of power. So when we, I've told the story, but to get involved with Slim Chickens, we had to buy some Sonics that were existing. So we went from going to Discovery Day with Slim Chickens with no restaurants to signing our deal with 4 Sonics.
Right.
So before we even had a restaurant open, we now had 4 other Sonics. When we got our first Slim Chickens open, before we got our second Slim Chickens open, we had a 5th Sonic that we built ground up. We've got a lot more revenue coming in from Sonic than we do from Slim Chickens. Our plan was to then spread out, do a little bit more. Some of the other partners I exited, but some of the other partners, we were all looking at various taco brands. Again, I'm just following the playbook, So we're looking at diversification. We bought those Sonics right before COVID, and we thought we were about to lose our ass because they were in Louisiana, and Louisiana locked down hard. But we didn't have a dine-in. So we actually killed it because people would go there. and act like they were eating out, and they really loved it. So that worked out okay for us. But yeah, we were looking at diversification and then I also had some other landscape business and trash business at the side at that same time. But we were looking at doing that because you just never know when, you hope that your personal business, morals, whatever, align with the brand forever. But whatever, man, I had reasons to protect myself. And so if I did not want to go that route, if I did not like the way the company was operating as a whole or anything, we were right at the point where we could convert our chicken restaurant into any other chicken restaurant if that push came to shove.
Right. And so does Inspire Brands own a chicken restaurant?
Inspire, I don't know.
But hypothetically, if
Buffalo Wild Wings, that's their chicken.
Oh yeah. So you could have easily been like, you know what,
B-dubs.
Slim Chickens, you guys are not working for us. We're going to turn this into a B-dub.
Possibly. Our stores models were different, but we could have definitely turned it into a taco spot.
Well, I'll be honest,
anything else.
Fast food B-dubs would actually be really good.
Well, Wingstop. So we were looking at, we kept it all out. My partner, one of my former business partners is now a Big Chicken franchisee. So that's Shaquille O'Neal's involved.
But speaking of Wingstop, literally Aubrey told me that she's been, I guess TikTok, there's a big Wingstop like push right now on TikTok. Okay. Like it's becoming like a viral
there's
thing.
a Wingstop in Tallahassee.
There's a Wingstop 10 minutes away from where we're staying at our Airbnb in Orlando. And Aubrey's like, promise me that one night we can have Wingstop.
I was actually surprised by, Slim's Wings. I just didn't, getting involved. I knew they would do, tenders well and all that stuff. But when we went into one of the stores again during Discovery Day, I had some wings. I was like, dang, these actually aren't bad, man.
Yeah.
The sauces and everything else. Well, normally I go get wings at like a Beef O'Brady's, a pub style, and not that they have the ability to do it any better, but
yeah, I will. I really enjoyed Slim Chickens. It had something to do with why I went there because you owned it to begin with, right. But then I would go there.
Yeah.
And
then
just
it's like, actually, this is pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yep.
So
the fried okra, man, that really was what sold me on the brand. I didn't know. It's kind of funny. I didn't know that was a menu item. I know I looked over the menu, I looked over the price, but I was really looking at like data, sales data, what the average unit volume was, traffic count, stuff like that. So it's like people want it. I don't really care whether I want it or not, but I love fried okra. So when we went to the store, I was like, y'all got fried okra here? I was like, score. Yeah. I need this. Need this in my life.
You're sitting in the back just eating fried okra. Yeah. They'd be like,
every time I'd go by there, man, I'd have to get me some. I was starting
Adam,
to
we
get
got a fresh batch coming to fried okra coming out.
Yeah, it's nuts. So.
But no, I think that's really just cool information for people to know because like I didn't realize that Coldstone is owned by the Kahala brand, which also owns Papa Murphy's, and because of that relationship that we built with Coldstone, we've also kind of got does the franchisee Josh does he own some Papa Murphy's too?
Yes, he does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
wow, he is
entrepreneur. Yeah,
he's killing it.
Yeah, and so that's kind of that's the thing, man. When you're a high performer, so like he doesn't even live anywhere, just like we didn't necessarily where his stores are.
Yeah,
because both the power and the support of the franchisor, they can help with the training and everything else. But when the rubber meets the road, you got to hire the managers, you got to hire the GMs, you got to hire the regionals, you got to train them, you got to do everything. The only real benefit is like if you got completely upside down and you're going to pay through the nose for it, the franchisor will show up and help. They'll bring the whole support staff. We had to do it with like the training. So like to open Slim's, it was like $30,000 in just training staff, costing and stuff like that. And we worked out a deal. So we have a location here in Panama City on 23rd Street. There's a hotel directly behind it. And to mitigate some of those costs, I had my landscape company go in there and say, hey, we'll do all your landscape maintenance. We'll do all this stuff, but we need you to give us a break on the other. Oh, yeah. So it worked out to our favor. But
yeah, and another thing too, people don't bring in is like the startup cost of the business because you had how much money and food were you giving away during your soft openings and stuff like the friends and family day? $50,000.
$50,000 over 2 weeks. Yeah. So we basically had to do. So we had friends and family day. How much we gave away on that day? Probably. Retail cost probably like $10,000. But just I have to train people.
Right.
They got to make food somehow, and so it's like kind of constant. Then you've got the training staff. Then you've got everything. And $50,000 was also some of the buffer for like grand opening.
Right.
You remember we had to park a truck across the thing.
Right.
Adam actually for freezer space.
Adam actually hit me up and he's like, "Do you got freezer space?" I was like, "Yeah, I actually do have some at the time." And so he was like, "I may need it."
Yeah, we had the time. Well, so they they really optimize the footprint so that you can get the smallest piece of real estate and do the most amount of volume through it. You know, I hooked a buddy of mine up with the franchisor, local guy, Dan. He's down in Tampa now, and they're killing it, man.
Well, and a lot of them are now moving to these like double
lanes,
and
man.
bigger. Some of I've seen even bigger.
Well, that was my thing the whole time. I was like, we need to copy Chick-fil-A. They have double drives.
Yeah,
they have double drives.
People don't want to get out of their car if they don't have to.
No.
So if you see a drive-through that has 10 cars in it, that's the only time I park and go in because I'm like, this is probably gonna be quicker for me to park and go in.
But most people, I mean, if you look at like Consumer Reports or whatever, most people will drive to the next.
Next place. Yeah.
You know, so it's tough. We were, you know, because we don't.
Most people might not have a wife that really wants something.
Well, true that.
If my wife is like, we're eating Chick-fil-A, it don't matter how long that line is.
Chick-fil-A is a special breed. They're a special breed. They're also an over $6 million AUV per store. So an average slim, put this in perspective, and the AUV just went up on a Slims. I still keeping it. It's about 3 to 3.2. It was a little over 2 million when we ran it. Now, some of that can really just be attributed to the value of our money going down, I guess, you know, because at that time my haircut was $10. Right. And now it's $25.
Yeah, I know.
Same place, sure. Same location.
Yeah.
2 years later. But yeah, even when you all even go all the way down to like customer service, like satisfaction reports.
Yeah.
It's like 10 minutes almost. It's like 8 and change minutes for people to actually leave a negative review of Chick-fil-A.
Right.
It was like 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Some like 3 minutes. If they didn't have their food in like 3 minutes, 11 seconds, they were getting grumpy.
Yeah.
You would get like nasty things at 3 minutes and 38 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, like,
it's very
where's my
metric.
food?
Yeah. And that's also the cool thing of having access to that data. So you know what, you know, the FAD and all the franchise has, franchises are regulated. So all the data they report has to be accurate. In fact, if you guys are interested,
because people make business decisions based on these things.
Yeah. So. Well, truthfully, if you look at it, like when I say AUV, that is the average unit. So like if you're a high performer, if you consider yourself a high performer, you will do better. We did really well out of ours because we stressed ticket times. I had the benefit of Chris really stressing business times on everybody.
And you're in
ticket times.
And you're in a good location.
We bought that location on purpose.
Yeah, it's a good location. I mean, Adam's place is literally on the busiest road. Yep. I feel like in Panama City right now, at least it's the busiest road. I mean, I went 2 miles today and it took me 10 minutes on that road because it was just bumper to bumper. And during lunchtime, it's right across the street from the hospital.
It's got 2 entrances. So we got that one on Jinx. We got the one on, I wound up paving that road on Jinx because it was all ate up. Literally, we just went in and did it. Traffic score, everything you need. I mean, and you guys can pull all this stuff on Google yourself. There's plenty of videos on how to look. I self-taught, but
you can.
Traffic counts.
You can pull up everyone's franchise disclosure agreements or no?
Most of them are out there,
right?
To some extent.
I mean, I have Crumbles.
Yeah,
when the company that approached us was trying to get us a franchise, they're like, "Here's Crumbles, just so you can see what it looks like." And I was like, "Oh,
well." Wow, Josh looked into being a Crumble franchisee.
Yeah, what are you telling me? Crave told him no, right? Which is funny. Which is
wild
because Josh is the high performer,
right? Yeah, they missed out. So, but
I'm glad they did.
Yeah, the benefit there is it gives us a big foot in that door, and there are more Coldstone and Papa Murphy's locations combined than probably most of the other cookie brands combined in retail spaces.
Well, so last I checked, Crumble had around 600 stores open and was going to be 800. Yep. And this was a while ago, so they're probably closer to the 800 now. But their valuation was like north of $1 billion. And if you think about it, if we do a nationwide rollout with Crumble, we'll be in 1,100. With Coldstone, we'll be in 1,100 Coldstone locations. Coldstone. And then Papa Murphy's has another 1,100 locations. So, not saying that Fat and Weird would be worth $1 billion, but
we're not saying that either.
We're not saying that.
Hey, we're shooting for the stars, man. We're blowing, we're going as hard as we can, and. I mean, we know what we're going to do on the wholesale route. I think this might fall under bulk, some of it wholesale, internal language for us. But, dude, that's just going to be cool. Like we talk about household name status. Like, yes, grocery store, great. People know all the items, individualized items in the store. But being able to drive down the road and be like, bang, hey, Mom, look, Our brand's on that window.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool.
Yeah. I'm excited. If my parents come down, I'm hoping that they can stop at Coldstone with us because it'd be really fun to see. I think it's just really cool, even when Max got his sour strips in Target, it's like to be able to walk in Target and be like, oh, I know this guy. Yep. I know this company.
It's cool, man. It really is.
Yeah. You're supporting, us, like actual people that and can talk to rather than, I don't know, whoever is at, XYZ company,
sure.
So it is a really cool thing to like watch that grow.
Well, and, even the inside stuff, and I'm going to use this to segue into what you went and talked about this morning. But some of these national brands, we literally out of their mouth, they've said how we do social media better than they do. You heard that this morning. So just kind of where'd we go this morning? You went and spoke it.
So this morning, the North Star Church that I go to they do this thing called For Bay County, and they, every month they raise funds for like a specific cause in Bay County, and they have poured like a lot back into the community. But the pastor is really big on small businesses. He believes that like entrepreneurs are the heartbeat of the community.
That's really great.
I agree with him. Yeah. And so they asked me, a couple months ago if I would come speak on social media, and this is kind of the first date that popped up that worked for everybody. Yep. And so this morning I went and gave a talk. There was about 20-ish people there.
Yeah, there was a good amount of people there.
25 people least. There. Yeah. That I talked to about just social media, and it kind of started with background on me and Aubrey, and then starting the cookie company, and then how social media has played a role in that, and then I work better off of questions and riffing the room. So after I got done with probably maybe a 20-minute spiel, I was like, let's hear some questions, because the truth is everyone's need for social media is different, slightly. And a lot of people don't know how to take an idea that relates in one niche and carry it over to their niche.
That's right.
So they need to be told hey, do this or try this.
It was 25, 30 business owners, right? So it's not just, randoms in the room. Sometimes even business owners need to be validated. They'll have a great idea. I heard a couple in there, but you going do that. And they're like, okay, I will now.
Yeah.
Whereas you know how it is, dude. You start talking with your current circle. We talk about needing to change your circle. Yeah. Sometimes you talk about your current circle. I talk with certain people sometimes, and they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. They just kind of want to poo-poo on your idea a little bit. Yeah. Because really what they're probably doing is projecting their own fear or inability on you. I had people, what do you know about landscaping? Or whatever. We talked about that. So it's but sometimes you need to change your circle, or sometimes you need to go to events like that because you can
meet people that can help you get out.
The biggest takeaway in the social media stuff is the new business owners out there. It's free. Yeah. Yes, there's paid for it, but hold your phone out and be like, hey, come buy my product, or look at this, or do this. Blah, it's free.
Yeah. And that's why I've talked about this before, but I think podcast would be a good topic to talk about this. But I said there's kind of 4 pillars in order to be successful on social media. And, there may be more than that, but I just kind of narrow it down to these 4 things. And number 1 is the one that's made based on luck. And that's just be an early adopter to a certain platform. Sure. I have friends that were early on to TikTok and stuff like that have millions of followers now. And it's just because they were early on.
Well, if you can get on a platform early enough, it makes you follow a handful of people. Right. So sure. When I did the grid stuff, Instagram had been around, but it wasn't that popular. And a bunch of the girls that were on the team had, at that time, 50,000+ followers. And that was a fucking lot. Yeah. Yeah. And I would be like, how in the hell? And literally they were all like, we just got on here a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So
being a pretty girl didn't hurt for sure, but it wasn't they weren't thirst trapping.
I said the only thing that is beyond the luck aspect of it is you have to be creating content on the platform, right? A lot of people downloaded TikTok when it first came out and consumed content. Yes. So if you were a creator, you would say you're in the medical field, everyone that kind of starts liking medical videos, they're just going to see you more and more and more. So they're going to start following you because they see you more. But now that there's 5,000 people posting about medical stuff, your videos don't pop up nearly as much, except for the people that kind of grew that following and were early to it.
Well, and if you look at anybody who's popular on social media, granted, there is more to it than just this. They're content powerhouses, dude. They're cranking stuff out. Grant Cardone, I think, was the first one to do it. He said he kind of did it in spite because people told him he posted too much. Yeah. And every time people tell him he's doing too much of something, he does more of it.
Right.
So he was like, I'm going to go live on all 10 platforms, all 10 times a day, whatever. So maybe that's not quite the recipe, but I mean, Patrick Bet-David, Grant Cardone, Andrew Tate, pick one of these people that just, it's everywhere.
Right.
And I mean, like YouTube, cross platforms and stuff like that. Maybe you, as a business owner or as an entrepreneur, maybe that's not the goal for you. But like, if you sell sunglasses, if you sell watches or headphones, it doesn't matter. Hey guys, I sell headphones. Like, just putting anything out there is better than nothing as long as you can do it consistently. I went to get my hair cut today. There was probably 10 people in there. I called ahead, so I got in there pretty quick. None of them were making content. All of them were consuming content.
Yeah.
Swipe, 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 swipe.
Right.
So like you might not get a lot of views. It might not get a lot of popularity, but it's out there now,
Yeah.
And so,
And so the first pillar, like I said, is being early adopter. The second pillar is to be educational. I think that everyone, most of the time I feel like I stop on pieces of content now, it's education. Mm-hmm. And the hard part is, you have to niche down on what you're teaching about, and then people have to care about that subject, right? Right now I'm getting a lot of sourdough stuff just because Aubrey and I have shared some sourdough bread stuff back and forth.
Yeah, sometimes the algorithm works a little too well. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I'm like literally the moment Aubrey started with sourdough, I interacted with one sourdough video, sending it to her.
Yeah.
My Explore page just became all sourdough videos.
We know what you need.
Yeah. It's funny. It's almost like they're like, oh, this is out of the norm for him. Let's blast him with this information. But no, educational videos. And I think a lot of people struggle with that because they're like, either they don't think they know enough, or they're like, I just don't know what to tell people. And what I say is like, well, go ask your friends, like what they don't understand about your niche, go ask your parents who don't work out or your friends who don't work out. Like, hey, why don't you work out? What's your biggest issue with working out? Like, what's your hurdles with working out? And get real responses back. Because a lot of times you're so ingrained in that niche that you don't even understand what beginner is anymore.
Yeah, you don't know what you know. You don't know that everybody doesn't know.
Right.
I experienced that with the gym.
Well, I was gonna say, I know you coach CrossFit, so it's a little bit different. But if me and you were working out and you were like, all right, I want you to power clean this and power cleaning something is not necessarily just knowledge that people know.
Right.
Like, what's the difference between a power clean and a hang clean?
Well, no,
and
but
a
even
squat
stuff
clean?
we share similar stuff on, the amount of questions I get asked on, like, what a carbohydrate, like, is that a carb? I'm like,
right.
No,
yeah.
or yes, or like just crazy stuff where you're like, what? You don't know that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. All the time I'll be speaking and I'll be like, and because there's 4 calories per gram of protein and 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates. Yep. And people are like, what? And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Well,
keto though, keto though. And I'm like, yes, but you're eating a lot of fat, and fat has more calories.
Yeah.
And let me take it back. I love when people ask me questions and I answer them. I don't literally go, what? You don't know that? But I am kind of taken aback by that because I don't, I've known this for so long.
Yeah.
It's part of my just life that I don't even.
You feel like you feel like it's basic and fundamental to your day-to-day life, so you don't understand how other people
it's like
don't.
Yeah, if you know enough about it. So there was like a mortgage lender there. There was class people. It'd almost be like, wait, you don't know how to take a shower?
Yeah,
I've been taking a shower my whole life.
Right.
I will show you, or maybe that's a bad example there, but whatever it is, I'll teach you how to do it or whatever it is because it's good. We want to help with anything especially anything that you like or you're passionate about. I'm not really sure how you can be passionate about being a mortgage broker, but they probably are.
Well, I told them from an educational standpoint, like, a lot of people they need to be speaking to are people that are like under the age of 26 that are looking to potentially buy their first home. So like, what options are out there? Like, what's PMI? Like, what kind of different loan structures are there? What is the difference in my payment if I put this much down or if I put this much down? What if I do a 15-year loan or a 30-year loan?
Oh, yeah.
There's so many questions that people don't know the answer to, but you think it's so basic just because you live in that world.
Right. And then it's easy to, and I don't know if this is full on imposter syndrome, but it's easy to discount yourself because when you want, those of you out there competing bodybuilding and are looking at Chris Bumstead videos all the time, well, you're not Chris Bumstead.
Yeah.
But you're also not teaching Chris Bumstead anything.
Right.
Very few people in the world are going to be able to. So like I did a ton of stuff in real estate. I still like to. I look up at guys like Grant Cardone all the time. Grant Cardone ain't looking up to me ever. Right? Like not in that. Maybe I could win him over in my morals or something, but does that make sense?
Yeah, and he's also not going to come on your post and be like, you're an idiot.
No, he's not going to come shit on my post. He's not going to come do anything like that. But I don't need to worry about making content for him because if you've never bought a single piece of real estate, I can teach you all the kinds of stuff.
Right.
If you've, if you've never worked out before or you just blah, 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 I can teach you all kinds of stuff.
Right.
But, I'm guilty of that. Going like, I'm not really good enough to teach anybody anything.
Yeah.
But then it's like, yeah, you are, dude. You're good enough to teach a lot of people.
Well, the social media thing today,
Yes.
I literally was like, why am I up here? I know I built what I built, but at the same time, I feel sometimes like I don't know enough to be teaching people. But afterwards, so many people were like, this was so good. This helped me so much. Like, I really appreciate it. Like all that stuff. And I was like, oh, dang. Okay.
It makes you feel good for sure. Well, no, it's crazy. And like the questions, obviously you still know vastly more about me, but since coming onto a company like this, I've forced myself to learn about different things in social media. Dude, there were a lot of questions I could have answered, you know? And so it's like, just remembering that there are levels and like, the yellow belts can teach the white belts. The blue belts can teach the yellow belts. You just got to remember that. Now, how you identify whatever. I think we get lost because everybody acts like they're just so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 24 years old. You want to know how to be a billionaire. Prayer hands, Lamborghini. It's like, dude, you're 24 years old. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, I used to hate getting heard that because I was an entrepreneur at 24 years old. But I also was like, teaching people how to exercise and teaching people how to do things I knew about. I don't know. It's tough, dude. Show me your balance sheet. Have your CPA send me your balance sheet before I send you any money to teach me how to do anything in business. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so, again, so that one is to be educational. Yep. Right. And then next is to be entertaining because everyone loves to be entertained.
Yep.
There's accounts that I follow that are, more like entertainment accounts.
Absolutely.
And I would also lump entertainment into like encouragement or those kind of things too. Because I follow a couple accounts that are just like
motivation, the like mindset, the like stay hungry out there. Those types of things. They would fall because you're not teaching me anything.
Right. You're entertaining me or whatever.
Even if I feel good afterwards, I don't.
Yeah. And so, there's a couple accounts that like I don't necessarily follow, but I see a lot of my Explore page that are just like marriage humor stuff and like a laugh at them,
Yeah,
and,
y'all made some of that type of stuff.
We did the videos of like.
Well, it's good, especially too, man. Those of you out there married and everything else, it's good if you can learn to laugh at yourself and you're kind of squat because whatever. I don't know. My wife and I get into it plenty, but
I know,
making funny jokes about it after the fact,
Well, they actually just side tangent. They actually say that. That is called a repair attempt, and it's in John Gottman. Who do you know about John Gottman? So John Gottman has the research lab, and he can predict with like 94% accuracy within 15 minutes if a couple's going to get divorced in the next 5 years. Oh, just by the way they talk to each other.
Oh yeah, I can probably do that.
But I mean, still 94 is pretty good.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not claiming to have special powers,
but anyways, he calls things like the 4 horsemen of a relationship, and that's like defensiveness, stonewalling, withdrawing, and then I don't remember the other one. But in general, he said now, whenever repair attempts come in, even if you have the 4 horsemen and the partner is receptive of your repair attempts, then that means that you're on a good track, right? Yeah. But how many times do you cut a joke like during the argument and Kirsty's like not having it?
Happens.
But in general, if she's receptive to the jokes, kind of like, hey man, here's my peace offering, you know? And
we're both normally pretty good about that because it's just like, we've been together forever, man. It's easier to just get over ourselves.
Yeah. Well, most of the time you realize you're
a lot of it too is, man, I can laugh at myself pretty good. So that's helpful. Kirsty's sweet when she wants to make up for stuff. So I don't know. We work it out.
But so entertainment was that one. And then like the 4th pillar I said is like be the best at whatever you're doing. Yeah. And I know that that's different for each person. But if you are the best, I mean, Chris Bumstead is the best like athlete in men's physique right now. He's won 4 times or something like that. He has a lot of followers. And he doesn't really have to do anything to gain those followers because he's Chris Bumstead, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know what I mean? Like people follow them, The Rock, like you follow him because The Rock is, he works out hard, his movies.
Well,
like,
the truth of the matter is both of those guys are fairly entertaining. Chris, The Rock has always kind of been The Rock, but The Rock is way more polished now than even back in the day.
Right.
Chris Bumstead, Well, so that kind of goes down to consistency too, man. He put out the YouTube videos, the day in the life of eating, but nothing about that content is special. It is literally homie standing there making eggs. But he's done it so much now that he's gotten a lot better.
Well, yeah, and then people obviously look at his accomplishments and they give him like he has the accolades to back up whatever he's telling you. Right. So I think, if someone came to you and they're like, let me tell you how to grow $1 million business. And you're like, what's the biggest business you've ever grown? And they're like, oh, I've never done it. Then you'd be like, why am I listening to you? But if someone's like, I exited a company for $40 million last year, you'd be like, oh, okay, let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah,
right?
Man. I met Brandon Dawson like 2 years ago or whatever. He does 10X Ventures with Grant. And, I got introduced because I was doing some business consulting and stuff at that time. And I got introduced and my buddy Steve introduced me to him and he's like, yeah, y'all do the same thing. And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm kind of getting, hey, I'm Adam, da-da-da. And he's like, yeah, man, boom. I just sold my last company for $151 million. I was like, yeah, we don't do the same thing at all, dog.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it, right? He's, 15 years older than me. So, I'm coming for you, dog. I mean, hey, good dude, very, very knowledgeable, very approachable. But that's also kind of the other thing, right? Was like, I was introduced by a mutual friend who said, we did the same thing. I'm not consulting nearly on that level at all. And I didn't get any hate from that man. I got like support. I remember when I was doing that, let me know if I could do anything for you.
Yeah.
And this was like, this dude sells services and he's like, I like you. Like, let me know if I can help.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, cool. Yeah. Whereas it might have tanked me. I don't know. I got some confidence. I got balls. But like, if he was like, you're nothing like me. Blah, blah. Well, maybe it would have worked. Maybe it would have put a chip on my shoulder. But it could have been like, oh shit, man. Like I'm poor. So blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But he was very receptive. He was very cool. We talked about that, like kind of nobody hates down or you're not supposed to. And so he definitely didn't. Even meeting Grant Cardone, he was like, hell yeah, hang in there. You'll be here one day.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks, Uncle G.
It's so motivating when people say that. But yeah, so I brought up the example. I have a friend who's a really great power lifter. And, the truth is, I mean, he posts some entertaining stuff and, I wouldn't necessarily, anything's like educational. A lot of it's just him lifting a lot of weight. Right. And people follow it because the dude is a freak. He's really great at what he does. And I brought up the fact is like, Bob Ross, he's a really great painter. People enjoy. He was one of the first to do what he's doing.
Yep.
Like to do
one
it
of the OG influencers, too.
Right? But no, I mean, when you mix some of those together, that's when you have a real standout thing.
Yep.
You're early adopter and you're educational or entertaining or the best at what you do. Then that's when people really stand out.
If you can find a way to be educationally entertaining or vice versa or whatever, too, that's kind of a sweet spot.
Yeah.
I don't really follow accounts that go like, and I don't really follow too many accounts, if any, that I can think of where they're like pure entertainment on one post and then something educational on the next post. Yeah. It's more like, this is, this niche. This is what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And then I'm over here for this. Theo Vaughn, incredibly funny guy. I'm not really going to him to learn a lot.
Right.
Maybe current affairs, maybe his opinion on, you know what I'm saying? Whereas like Josh Weissman, the cooking guy, it's like he's funny and entertaining. If that's bad, maybe comparison.
No, but yeah, I mean, I think a combination of any of those things yields better results because then you kind of like hit on more than one of the pillars, right?
Well, and just, I mean, even I've been working on videoing myself more just to get better at it, but like, doing something over and over again, you're going to get better at it.
Yeah.
I watched this thing and this guy in 30 days just posting on his phone, setting up a tripod and talking to his phone. He basically gave himself a challenge, followed some challenges or whatever that they were, gave himself coursework, followed challenges. Dude, this dude went to like media trained professional almost in 30 days. Purely just 2 times a day, morning, afternoon, posting it, just no editing, no retakes. And it was like, you get better at going like, I can't I just got to go. Take it, And he got very good. Just kind of a nerdy kid that was like, I need to get better because he wanted to sell his brand on the internet.
Which I think
golf or something.
Which is the most important thing about all of this stuff is that you have to do it. if you're not creating the content, I mean, and again, this is only if you want a social media following. It's not a requirement. Like, you don't need it. I can tell you that once Aubrey and I exit our companies, we probably will take a hiatus from social media, I enjoy sharing it because I enjoy the community aspect, kind of like you miss the gym. Yep. I think I'll always want to have this little community. Agreed. But obviously, I think there's less pressure on the community to drive value, you know?
Well, it goes different, right? At some point, you are able to reach a level where your followers are waiting for your content. They're wanting,
right.
they're when you kind of start out, I mean, even kind of where my account is, people are like, where's post more soup pictures? Where's your cooking stuff? And I'm like, leave me alone, dude. I don't want to post that right now.
Yeah.
F you. But I know I have to do some of it because that's, what the people like see and all that stuff. See, mine's just a personal thing, right? I'm not selling anything I'm on yet or working. I'm just building my brand online.
Yeah.
I look at, we say, you might not want a following and you might not want to be famous on the internet. I understand that. But if you are a professional, if you are a business, even an employee, but a professional level employee, you have the ability to build an online resume for yourself that somebody can check out without anything and go, oh yeah, I like this guy.
Yeah.
I want him for my company. Or, this would make a great business partner in some endeavor because you can glean enough about how they talk, how they act, how they whatever, I don't like the way that guy talks about this. We'll stay away from each other, or I really do. So it's, we say it's kind of funny. It's always been, it's not what you know, it's who you know, but we are transitioning into also very much who knows you. So if you have the ability to cast that net, you may not have met them yet, but they may already be a fan in a way that they could be a future friend, future business partner, future whatever. So I kind of think you have a responsibility to do something with your social media.
Yeah. And I mean, the truth is, even if you don't do anything else, it's documentation of your life to look back on.
Oh, I know.
So I say this all the time that our YouTube channel doesn't have 100,000 subscribers. I mean, we have a lot, but we don't have 100,000 subscribers. But I can go back now and I can relive the road trip that Aubrey and I took. I can relive the cruises that we took. I can relive
the baby
stuff. All of Aubrey's baby updates when we were having Scarlett. Those things, I can go back and relive those things, and you'd be surprised at how much your memory doesn't remember.
It doesn't. Your memory is bad. But it's also cool because we are with technology and hardware keeping up now and everything else. We used to look at pictures, but frames on the wall now can easily hold videos. And even the live video or whatever on your phone, when you take a quick live video, that hits so differently when you hear a voice in there, whatever, like my kids, some of them, I didn't know they were live videos that I had of some of my kids, and you play it and they're like, Daddy. I'm like, oh, I'll never, I record everything now that I can, just whip it out. And then see, for me, I've just been throwing it on my stories. Look, if you don't want to see it, don't look up my stories, but my archived, so I can get them whenever I want.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. I mean, what I did a bad job of whenever Letty was born, I recorded a lot of stuff in Instagram. So I have to go get it out of my archive now. Yeah. And now I record everything on my phone and I upload it to Instagram. Yep. Just because it's I don't want to lose it, and there's so much stuff that, a lot of her baby times I have had to go through and download off of there. And if there's so many, I just didn't even get them all.
Yeah.
So I had to just let those, they're still there. I could go search for them, but I'm just nope, they're on my phone now. Now I can click the year, date, go to the exact date that they're there. And I can be man. I was actually at the gym with, Adam Paget. Mm-hmm. So he has, his daughter Cam is 4, I think. But we were just talking about, I said, man, Letty has always had long hair. So she missed the baby. She didn't look like a baby. You know what I mean?
Nah, she had Anchorman hair.
Right. And so when she was 3 months old, I showed him a picture of her at 3 months old. And I said, how old do you think he is? And he's like, somewhere between 6 and 9 months. I was like, no, she's 3 months old. And he was like, no way. And then I showed him a picture of her, or a video of her 2 weeks before she turned 1. And she was literally running. Yeah. And he was just her form, the way she moves. Plus you add in her long hair. I mean, people right now, they tell her she looks like a 4-year-old.
Oh yeah, easily. She's dense and moves well.
Is she bigger than Isla?
She might be. She's probably heavier than Isla.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's literally in between Isla and Emerson.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In like size, and so you look at that, and Isla is 3 going on 4, and Emerson's 6, 5 going on 6.
Yep.
So it like Letty looks like she's like a 4 or 5 year old, you know, and she's literally not even 3 yet.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Well, like you and Aubrey have good athletic genes, and Aubrey has a ton of hair.
Oh yeah,
you got good hair,
I was born with.
Yeah, I mean, you got strong hairline, so you know, but. Yeah, that little girl has a lot of hair, so that's great. She got the Disney princess hair.
Yeah,
she's gonna be happy about that.
I mean, we were braiding her hair when she was like 1, and people were like, I think we have a lot of friends now.
My wife is like,
they have like little sparse hair.
Not jealous, but like, you know, loves Letty's hairdo, hairstyles. Our girls we ain't got the strong hair genes, you know, but I mean, their hair's long now, but it's just not as thick, not as full. I don't know all the right hair terms.
I mean, Letty's hair is literally
a mount of hair. She has a bunch of hair strands, whatever that's called.
Yeah, and then her hair is all the way down to like the top of her butt now. Yeah, it's crazy.
She gets to do all those cute little hair.
Yeah, so like Aubrey gets to put them in like space buns and all that stuff, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, she had the cutest."
Emerson would always have these cool hairdos when she was like in daycare and stuff, but some of those girls were used to dealing with shorter hair, so they were able to like braid it a little better, you know. So.
Yeah. But no, I think that, you know, obviously time is the biggest thief, you know, because it's crazy to look back on how much that she's grown up. But with social media, I have the ability to like go back and look at all that stuff. And that's something that I'm very thankful for. I know a lot of people are very hit or miss on whether you should share your kids on social media or like whatever. There's people that believe that your kids don't have the opportunity to like opt into that. And so you're forcing it.
Your kids don't have the ability to opt into anything.
Yeah, no.
They do whatever their parents tell them to do.
Right.
You're doing the best for them. Y'all are on social media. I don't know. I get it. I understand. But it's also those same people that just do that stupid ass fear mongering of like, oh, because someone saw my kid on the internet, they're going to come stalk.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, we get so many messages that are just like, thank you so much for like sharing like Letty, like growing up, because I have a 20-year-old and I just like, I miss it. Like they're all parents are reliving these feelings, you know.
Everybody likes a cute kid. Letty's cute as hell, says cute things. I mean, like I granted, yes, I'm a watcher because it's your daughter.
Yeah.
But if I just happen to, I send you kids acting cute all the time. So it's like, I don't know. I like it. It's heartwarming. It's pure.
Yeah. There's something about like kids, like I told you, the unbridled excitement that they give, the love.
Well, you know, like I want to live in, yes. Okay. So there are always going to be terrible humans out there. And so like there was like a picture, Liam sitting on a surfboard and is like facing away. He's naked. It's a baby shot. You can see like nothing of the top of his butt crack. Well, we had the gym, and unfortunately we had a member there who was ADA for like pedo fucking sex crime shit. Oh. And she was like, you should take that down. Like, you don't understand what's out there. You don't understand the people that are out there. I'm like, well, no. Okay. I mean, one, it's terrible. It makes me sick to my stomach. I think we should shoot those people on sight. But no, there's nothing sexual about that picture. It's cute. It's like copper tone. It's like that's the amount that's going on right there.
Right. Yeah.
So I can't let, and you know, you guys can't let the fact that there are terrible people. Now be ready, be guarded.
Yeah. Be ready for it, but don't change the way you live your life. You know?
It's fine. It's pure. You know, it's cute.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
All right. Well, yeah, we are at about 55 minutes in this, so it's been a good podcast.
This was good.
We riffed a lot, believe it or not.
We did.
I know. We sat down and I was like, oh man, I hope we don't run out of things to talk about.
I know.
But,
I'm surprised. I just see where the time is now. So it's like, wow, hell yeah.
Yeah, we did really good. But no, thank you guys as always for joining us in the oven. You're worth it. Do hard shit.